So there I was, finally catching my breath for the first time in what felt like forever. After years spent battling through one hellish, cursed video game after another, each one more twisted than the last, I genuinely believed it was over. Rachel and I had faced down Mario himself, survived horrors that would break most people, and put those nightmares to rest. I'd convinced myself the darkness was behind us at last. That night, I decided to do something normal for once. Just zone out, let my mind go blank, and watch some harmless nostalgia, an old episode of Jimmy Neutron. The title flashed across the screen. The broadcast of the damned, but I barely noticed. After everything I'd seen, a weird title hardly fazed me. Besides, Rachel wandered in at just that moment, and the comfort of her presence made me feel almost safe. "Brandon," she said, her voice soft, but then her face drained of color in an instant. She pointed, horror freezing her features. "Brandon, behind you!" she screamed. My skin went cold. I spun around, heart pounding. And there he was. Jimmy Neutron, only not the clever, innocent cartoon kid from my childhood memories. This Jimmy was all wrong. His eyes were gaping, empty voids, blacker than anything I'd ever seen, and his mouth stretched open, impossibly wide, as if his jaw were unhinged. The air went thick and cold. "You're coming with me, friend," he hissed, his voice distorted and echoing, as if 100 broken radios were trying to speak at once. Before I could react, his hands burst from the screen, icy and unreal, and yanked me straight through the television into blackness. Behind me, I could hear Rachel's screams growing distant, muffled by the static. I tried to hold on to her voice, but it faded into nothing. Suddenly, I was somewhere else, a place that was both familiar and utterly wrong. I was inside the world of Jimmy Neutron, but it had been twisted into a nightmarish parody. The colors bled together, flickering and warping like a corrupted VHS tape. The sky was a sick, nauseating shade of green, and every building leaned at impossible angles, their windows like gaping mouths. Shadows crawled along the streets, whispering my name. Jimmy stood by a massive contraption, all rusted metal and sparking wires. Above it, a flickering neon sign read, "Friend Keeper." The phrase pulsed like a heartbeat. Jimmy's empty eyes began to leak thick, dark blood, running down his cheeks in rivulets. He started laughing, a guttural, animalistic sound that scraped along my nerves. "Go on, step into the Friend Keeper," he grinned, his mouth splitting even wider, teeth jagged like broken glass. His whole body seemed to twitch with anticipation. I didn't even think. I bolted, running as fast as I could for the nearest exit. But the world stretched and twisted with every step, corridors looping back on themselves, doors melting into walls. Panic clawed at my chest. Somewhere deep down, I knew the truth I'd been running from for years. I would never truly escape these haunted things. No matter how many monsters I beat, there was always another waiting in the dark, eager for fresh fear. This was my life now, a never-ending gauntlet. My fate, my destiny, to face down every cursed cartoon, every malevolent video game, every nightmare that crawled out of the shadows. I stopped running. My fear hardened into resolve. I turned to face Jimmy, fists clenched, ready to fight. But the horror wasn't over. Carl, Sheen, Libby, Cindy, they all appeared, stepping out from the flickering gloom. But they weren't themselves. Their eyes dangled from empty sockets, limbs twisted at impossible angles, skin split and stretched. Cindy's body was so burned and mangled that her nakedness barely even registered, just another grotesque detail in this hellscape. "Join us," they intoned, voices layered and glitching, each word off-key. Their mouths moved out of sync with the sound, and their hands reached for me, fingers curling like claws. Jimmy watched, his grin wider than ever, waiting for me to break. "Come on, join us and be our friend," he cajoled, his voice dripping with mockery. A surge of anger burned through my fear. "Oh, hell no!" I snapped, eyes darting around for anything I could use as a weapon. I grabbed a broken pipe, but I knew it wouldn't be enough. My mind raced, desperate for a way out, something, anything. Then I saw it, Jimmy's robotic dog, Goddard, standing in the corner, flickering with static, as if he too had been corrupted. But maybe, just maybe, there was a way to turn the tables. I ducked behind an upturned desk as Carl lunged for me, his arms stretching too far, joints popping. My fingers fumbled with my phone, hands shaking as I pulled up the wireless hacking app I'd once used to break into haunted arcade cabinets. My heart pounded, the world spinning around me. I locked onto Goddard's signal and dove into his code, fingers flying. Override. Reboot. Command kill mode. Goddard's eyes flashed red. In a blur of metal and fury, he lunged at Jimmy and his gang. The sounds were awful, screams, crunching metal, tearing flesh. Yet watching Goddard tear through them was almost cathartic. All the terror, all the helplessness, I took it back, bit by bit, with every blow Goddard landed. In moments, the nightmare was reduced to carnage. Jimmy lay on the ground, half his body missing, blood pooling beneath him, mechanical parts sparking. He looked up at me, something like respect, or maybe hatred, in those ruined eyes. "Why, you may have beaten me," he gurgled, voice barely more than a wet whisper. "But SpongeBob's coming for you, and he's way worse." He shuddered, then went still, the last spark of life guttering out. I staggered over to Goddard, adrenaline still surging. "Goddard, take me home," I commanded, my voice hoarse. The robot dog barked, a strange, glitched sound, then leapt forward. Light exploded around us, and the world seemed to dissolve. In the next instant, I stumbled out of the TV, gasping for air, Goddard right behind me. Rachel was there, slumped on the couch, eyes red from crying, but she'd refused to leave. She'd kept vigil, waiting for me to come back. Relief washed over me so hard it made my knees weak. "Rachel, guess who's home?" I breathed, reaching out to shake her awake. She blinked awake, disoriented at first, then her face broke into the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. "Brandon, you're back. I was so worried," she whispered, wrapping her arms around me, pulling me close. Her touch was the only thing that felt real anymore. Then she noticed Goddard, tail wagging, mechanical ears twitching. Her eyes widened in surprise. I managed a tired grin. "I know how much you always wanted a dog." She laughed, a real, bright laugh, the kind I hadn't heard in months. For a moment, I let myself believe the nightmare was over. For a moment, I felt almost normal again. But then Jimmy's dying words echoed in my mind. The weight of them settled over me like a shadow. "Oh, by the way," I said, trying to keep my tone light, "I think SpongeBob's after us now." Rachel just winked, her confidence as fierce as ever. "If he ever shows up, we'll be ready. We always are." And as we sat there, side by side, Goddard curled at our feet, I realized that maybe she was right. Whatever haunted thing came for us next, whatever nightmare crawled out of the darkness, we'd face it together. And maybe, just maybe, we'd find our way out.